So today I was asked by Toni to get in and write some case studies for some of our larger clients for Turner Construction and World Bank and Library Corporation and several others. And so I got in and I was writing about these big things that we've done and how much fun that work was and how much we enjoyed it. And I realized while doing that both how we started and where we're at right now doesn't really center around those large events that a lot of our clients, like over 100 actually of our clients, have been small, short, 1 to 5 day engagements that allow us to come in and just very quickly work with a team to figure out what needs to happen, figure out a way to make that happen, and then we go, and then they do these things. And what we found is that, years ago, I was working on a project with John Shook from Lean Enterprise Institute, and we were at a manufacturing plant. And he and I were talking about stuff, and we're just walking into the plant. We get into the plant, and his head just kind of swivels off into this direction, and he kind of just looks back and forth across, materials moving this way and that way, and people doing this, and the sounds of assembly and construction and shipment. And he just looks at me and he says, I really love a factory. He's like, I love everything about what's happening here. People working together to get stuff done. And he just goes off. And this is the way it is with Toni and me too. When we get in, we work with a small group and we just love ways of working. Whether you're doing sales or marketing, or whether you're building something, or whether you're inventing something or researching something, or whatever, human beings are getting together in a group and they're caring about something in real time, and then they're making that thing happen. So it doesn't matter if we're there for months or years or even just a few hours. What matters is that we're helping create this kind of gateway to the group that we're working with, build something that will help them do their jobs. And that's I do my job, I do my job. But work isn't work. Work is your life. Work is what you spend so much of your time on. And so, you don't want to do it in a way that's upsetting your bosses. Your bosses don't want to give you necessarily work that upsets you, but what we do want to do is figure out what is the right thing that we can be doing at the right time. What's the right way to get that done? And then how do we move forward with that? So I got some quick case studies, and they're in the write-up below, of course, but there you go. So the first one, these ones are going to be blind item, okay? So the first one is a biotech that we worked with in the Research Triangle of North Carolina many years ago. We were there for just a few days. And what happened there was that there's a bunch of scientists. They're trying to get work done. They're trying to discover things. And what we wanted to do with them is say, okay, we're going to work with you. We've got personal Kanban. We've got value stream mapping. We've got all these tools. But how are you going to deploy them in a way that allows you all to communicate this real-time, super fast learning that you're all involved in? So that was a lot of fun. It was just a few days, and they reported back just the other day. What we did those days impacted them and helped them be more successful into the future. The second is a bunch of restaurants up in the Northeast. And what happens in a restaurant, so this place has tiny fast food restaurants, kind of sit down, kind of Marie Callender's kind of sides of restaurants. And then it has super luxurious restaurants. But in all of the restaurants, there's kind of this restaurant aesthetic where things are moving so fast and things have to happen so fast that you're just barking at each other all the time. I need 3 fish fired up. I need this. I need that. And a lot of times it's things like, I need the bus station set up. Why isn't there salt on the tables? Why isn't there this? Why isn't that? So what we wanted to do was reduce some of that barking. We wanted to make the interactions of the people doing the work more hospitable to them so that they could be more hospitable to the customer, right? So we set up visual management systems there that allowed them to say, okay, this is when the supplies are running low. This is when this needs to be done. This is when that needs to be done. So there were triggers for these actions and no one had to yell, why isn't this done yet? Okay. Staff could see their work and get their work done. Third one, Australian property company. These people were so fun. It was 3 fairly young people. They had just sold a company. They had money. And they were going to go off and build a bunch of townhomes in northeastern Australia. And they had to do everything. They had to fund it. They had to get permitting. They had to do the design. They had to clear the lots. They had to do the construction. They had to sell them. The whole bit. Soup to nuts. They were doing the whole thing. So they all had different assumptions of what would happen in this incredibly long bunch of work that they had to do, this incredibly long value stream that they had to create. So we created it. We had this huge conference room that they had rented, and it went all the way around the conference room. Tons and tons and tons of assumptions about this happens and this happens and this happens, and them forming, storming, norming, sometimes arguing, but coming to a consensus about how they were going to operate that in the future. 1 week, just landed, came in, sat down, laid everything out, and by the time we left, they didn't have a business plan. They had an operations plan about how they were actually going to achieve this. All right. Okay, fourth one, Scottish Bank. Very quick here. They had a problem with quality. They had software quality issues, and they were constantly looking for ways to do better bug fixing. But what we did is said, rather than fix the defects, of course you need to, but you already know how to do that. Let's find out when they're about to happen and stop them from happening at all. So we use personal Kanban to create triggers to allow them to see up front when problems were going to happen, when dependencies were going to happen, and then we help them design a system that they're still using after a decade. Again, only a few days long. The last one, currently working with a wonderful Montessori school in southern England. They have 2 locations, and we have been working on everything. How they communicate internally, how they plan things. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but a lot of this is like, when you have a bunch of different types of stakeholders, so these people have the students as the stakeholders, the parents as the stakeholders, they have the community as a whole, they have the other instructors. They've got a lot of different groups of people who are very, very interested in the success of this school. And so we have been working with them, and they basically just bought a chunk of hours, and we get together for an hour at a time. And we just have a conversation about where they're going, and we'll visualize some things, we'll deal with some specific problems. But it's been really amazing having that. We're working also, with a small nonprofit in Australia. We're the point of all of this is that we want to get in and do kind of these quick surgical expert interventions. And we want to bring our right expertise to your right moment. So I want to talk about these things with you and how we could work with you, because right now everybody is really worried about action, and that's ending up costing everybody not just time and energy, but it's like costing us stress. And we would like to help with that. So that is a quick 10 minutes on the beauty of a small engagement. So thank you all, everybody.